Hi everyone, welcome back to Asian Business Owners. I'm Carmen, your dear host. This episode is in partnership with Garage Society, a flexible workspace with 3 locations across Hong Kong. Thank you, Garage Society. And if you're looking for a place to work from, get a free day pass by filling the short form that will be in description. Today's guest didn't grow up thinking he would be a business owner in Asia. He actually wanted to become a doctor. But one decision led to another, and choosing business school, learning Chinese, moving to Hong Kong. A few years later, he founded a company called Unlock APAC. We're going to explain what this company is and how he built it. In this episode, we'll talk about timing, building in Asia, stepping away, and what it takes to create something that lasts. Hi, Aurelien.
Hello. Thanks.
How are you?
Very good, thank you. Thanks for having me with you today. It's a pleasure to be here.
Let's jump in straight away. So I mentioned that you wanted to be a doctor.
Yeah.
That's very far from what you're doing today. So can you take us back to that moment when things shifted? Why did you change direction?
Well, I come from a middle-class family. And since very young, I always told my parents that I wanted to become a doctor. You know, when you're very young, you're inspired to be somebody somewhere.
You want to be a doctor, a lawyer, or
yes, I mean, or a fireman, or a policeman,
or a banker,
or banker. Not for me at that time, but like doctor was very something I was attracted to. Okay. I think the fact of helping people was really what attracted me to the job.
So your parents aren't doctors?
No, my parents aren't doctors at all. So yeah, I was, you know, when you're from a middle-class family, usually it's kind of like being a doctor is like a step up, you know. So my parents always drove me towards that because they thought it was a dream for me. So they even put a lot of money aside to pay for the studies and everything. And I think I realized quite late towards the end of my high school degree that I had to, I wanted to take another path. Okay. I had this, I had skills in mathematics, science, biology, because that was the natural path normally. But I also really liked languages and travel. So for me, it was like, okay, how can I do all of that all at the same time? Almost impossible.
Maybe being a doctor abroad?
Could have been, yeah.
Even more difficult?
Yeah, potentially. But it's when I started to look at universities and curriculum and everything, and I was like, wow, it's probably not exactly what I want for my life. So I decided to take another path, the path of travel and languages, more as a passion.
So you wanted to go to the UK to practice English, right?
Yeah, actually I'm from north of France. So the easiest path would be to go to England. And then I even told my parents I can do washing dishes in restaurants or anything, like any sort of job, so long that I'm immersed in the environment and I can learn and speak the language. I mean, you know, in France we have a good base of writing and understanding, but speaking is always an issue. So for me it was to put that into practice. That's really what I wanted to do.
But your parents refused that? My
parents refused because they're like, you can't take a year gap. You need to dive back in and go to university. So I didn't have many options. And then I stumbled across some business schools with curriculums that were focusing on international and learning new languages and business, but I had no skills in business. I even failed miserably the test to get into the oral test to go to my business school. I got in because of the written test. So luckily I had that to balance. I'm glad today that I made that choice.
Okay. You joined that business school and then you started learning Chinese?
Yeah, because at that time China had started to awaken. But there was a lot of focus on China and what China is going to be in the future and all that. So my fellow classmates had decided to go to the US to experience the US university kind of life. But I decided to come to Asia. We had the third year was completely abroad. So that's when I stepped in Hong Kong first and then I moved to China. But that was with that goal that I started to learn Chinese, so that I would have at least some foundations to be understood and understand also the culture even more.
So actually that moment changed everything.
That moment changed everything, yes.
But back then you didn't realize. But when you joined that business school and then when you started learning Chinese, you learned it, you know, it would be probably an asset that was, I guess that's what you were thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But knowing that later you would be living in Hong Kong, having your business and your life and your family here.
Yeah.
And your wife is from China, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it really changed everything.
It changed everything. I think at that time, it was far from being the idea of what it is today. I was more thinking, you know, go back to France, find a job, but correspond with Asia in some form of ways. But yeah, I think unconsciously as well, my mom she was a sales assistant, commercial assistant.
Okay.
She was dealing with Asia a lot. We've had a lot of clients of hers coming from Taiwan, China, Hong Kong. So maybe it's what drove me to come over here as well. But yeah, I decided to come to Hong Kong, and the rest is history. Never decided to go back.
How long have you been living here?
16 years.
16 years, okay. Can you tell us what happened after that?
So after Hong Kong, I moved to China in Wuhan, the famous Wuhan epicenter of COVID-19. I didn't want to go back from that point of time. So actually my first sales role happened at that moment, because I rang my business school and I told them, like, I don't want to go back. Can I stay a bit longer in China? There's a lot more valuable things that I can learn in this moment than going back for the 4th year of my university degree. But they say, no, it's a 5-year program. We don't accept gap years. If you want to step up, then you're out.
Okay.
So I had to find a way to stay again, adapting and making compromises too. And then my business school accepted that I would take our school flyers and then go around all the University of Wuhan and try to find a university with a similar curriculum but will accept what they call like a double degree program. Okay. And that's what I did. I found a school that accepted it. They sent somebody from the school because I didn't have the authority to close the deal, and allowed me to stay an extra year in China.
Oh, cool. So you really made your way.
Yeah, I forced it in some ways. Yeah.
And do you think that you learned what you learned settling in Asia, in China, was something that you wouldn't have learned if you would have gone back in Europe?
I believe so, because everything happened faster in Asia. Living in Asia taught me like adaptability, humility. And
humility, how so?
Yeah, I think you need to be humble to do things over here. Trust compounds over time. So building relationship is very important.
Yeah.
The person you meet today is a person you might still work with in 10 years' time. So I didn't feel that much of that in Europe, but to be fair, I also didn't have much work experience or internship experience in Europe as well. So I could be wrong around that. So I would say that it's really what drove me to stay here. Yeah.
If we jump a bit in time, later you joined Native Union. You were one of the first employees.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
And you helped scale globally and sell millions of units. Yeah. And the founder of Native Union is a French guy, and he's based in Hong Kong as well.
Yes.
I met him. Nice guy.
Yeah.
At that stage, you were not a founder yet. No. You worked there for 4 years or so?
Yes.
Okay. What did you learn about scaling a business in Asia, working there?
Well, when I joined Native Union, I was fresh graduate. They offered me a job even before I finished my university degree. I was intern for them. I saw a company like scaling super fast with one product. That's why they offered me the job, because the pop fund, the company was moving so fast that they really needed like people that already had an experience with the company. I was put towards the sales part of the business right away. And we had inquiries coming from left to right from all over the globe to buy the products. So there was a very good dynamism with the business. Reflecting back on that experience, it's a lot about having the right product at the right moment, surrounding yourself with the right people, and then building the right relationships. During that experience, we were very green as a business. So we met a lot of people. But once you're new in a business, you made good appointments and bad appointments because everyone comes to you and say, I'm the greatest and the best, you should work with me. We've learned our lesson in the hard way sometimes by trusting the wrong people. But there are also some people that I met during that time that I still work with today. They were like business partners. Now they are kind of friends to me in the business. So you never know when you start that in the future you can still work with those people.
Yeah.
You know.
When you mentioned that sometimes you meet the wrong person, do you have a story or an example of when it turned out to be a bad decision?
Yeah, when I say you learn in a hard way, like this type of brands usually work with distributors.
So Native Union
yeah.
is just for people maybe they don't know.
Sure.
They do tech accessories.
Correct. Lifestyle tech accessories, accessories for your mobile phone, your tablet, your MacBook. So yeah, you would work with a distributor who become your business partner in a certain market. So let's say Taiwan, which is just across, but you don't know that person. Actually, they become a client of the company because they buy products from you, but ultimately they're not a client. The real client is the people that buy the products on the shelf or online. The end customer, yeah. They're more like a business partner because their success becomes the brand's success as well.
Yeah.
And that's how you need to treat those people. And to give you an example, I don't have particular names, but we've had situations where you would grant payment terms to a business, to a distributor, and they end up not paying you in the end. You know, so you have to build the right foundations, work with insurances to ensure that if transactions don't happen, you can still get some coverage. But we've had situations like that. Or people who would say, I'm going to do all those things for you in my market, and they end up doing nothing. And then they block you because you sign a deal with them and you want to trust them. You give them time, but sometimes time runs fast. This kind of example is what I would call bad appointments.
And apart from the things that you learned about scaling a business in a very dynamic environment, also did you learn what you didn't want to bring into your future business?
Yes, indeed. I mean, that was my first working experience, like real working experience out of internship. So there were two founders in the business. I've had the chance to experience two different styles of running the business within the same entity. So I think you pick and choose, right? Yeah, there are things that you agree on with your bosses. There are things that you disagree on. There are certain attitudes or certain decisions that are made that, make you reflect. I've learned a lot during that time, the goods and the bads. And that's what I'm trying to do with my team now, not repeating what I think was to be put aside at that time.
But in terms of what, how the team were organized or the processes, or was there things that now that, looking back, you're like, they were working like that in that company and maybe it's working for them, but you didn't want to bring that into your own?
It's more about the people management side of things that I kept things for myself. In terms of processes, each company have their own form of processes. Even today we work with multiple brands and I can tell you there's no one company alike to the others. They all have a different style, they all go at a different pace, they all use different tools. Luckily we're nimble and we adapt to it's one of our strengths is we are good at adapting to other people's business way of doing. But it comes with experience, right? It's all those years of knowing what works, what doesn't, and trying to put all those pieces together to make it work.
But I guess the people management, it always comes down to people management.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, the rest, I'm not saying that the rest is easy, but I would say that people management is probably the hardest part.
Indeed, yes.
When you're running a business, even in corporate, when you're a manager and you have to manage your team, I guess managing human beings
With emotions. With,
Yeah.
You know.
They have their own lives, they have their ambition, etc. And it's a topic that I discussed with other guests before.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really where you have to be humble as a founder.
Yeah.
And I was saying lately to another founder that the point is not to be the one who is right. You don't care about that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very difficult to let go because you're like, I know I'm right, but that's not the point. You need to be fair and to work together.
Mm.
It's not like your ego against my ego.
Yes.
But that's tough.
It is tough, but I'm very open-minded when it comes to this. You know, in the Asian culture, there's the boss and then there's the employees. I hate this notion of boss. We even joke internally when they call me boss because it's more as a joke more than anything. I like to let people express themselves a lot. I've told them since day one, I don't pretend to know everything. I don't know everything, right? You're here also to bring me something. That's also why I'm hiring you, right?
Yeah.
So any ideas is welcome. Any form of criticism is welcome, so long that it helps the company move forward, right?
Okay.
I don't want to have a sort of negative spirit in the business, which I don't have. I'm glad I have some great people working with me. But yeah, it's really is welcoming other people's thoughts that drives the business forward, I think.
So after that experience, is that working in that environment, in that company, that gave you the idea of starting your own business?
Yes, it was. I mean, I was again, fresh graduate, worked 4 years for the business. So 2 entrepreneurs being quite successful in a short period of time. So obviously it inspires you, right, in some form of ways. And I identified a gap between the West and the East.
So what was the gap?
Well, I used to work with sales agencies in North America and Europe, so I knew that the business model was already existing. But Asia is a very complex region, and the gap was that there are a lot of companies, brands that want to enter Asia, but they don't necessarily have the right connections. They don't know how to do business with Asian because it's very complex. So for me, it was like I could be that middle person now with my connections, with my limited experience to help bridge the two worlds. Yeah.
Okay. So in 2014, you founded Unlock APAC.
Correct.
So can you explain briefly what this is about?
So Unlock APAC is basically we are a sales agency. We build the bridge between the brands and distribution in Asia. So if a brand wants to start selling in China, in Japan, in Australia, in Taiwan, I'm not going to name all the countries, but that's what we do. We help open doors and then we manage the business that exists from there.
Like the distribution?
The distribution, yes.
Okay. Your clients, what type of clients do you work with?
So we brand ourselves as a tech and lifestyle sales agency. So we work with a lot of brands that are coming up with products around the Apple ecosystem.
Okay.
So mostly on the accessory part. So we're closely related to Apple, even though we don't work with Apple, but we follow all the trends that Apple brings to us as consumers, but also as business people.
Are you an Apple guy?
Yeah, I've been drawn into the Apple ecosystem quite early. If you're in the industry and you're not Apple, you're kind of like an outsider, kind of, you know. And Apple has helped a lot of companies to be alive because even though they pretend to make the best products out there with the best tech and the best materials and all that, there's still a lot of people that are creating accessories to enhance the use of those devices. So hopefully those companies exist so they can make us live as well.
So when you founded that company, you did it on your own?
Yes. Yeah.
What were you driven by when you started?
I think being an entrepreneur, being your own boss, and now I'm going to use the term boss again, but like being able to make the decisions by yourself was really what drove me into it. I had seen the model working. So for me, it was more like adapting the model to Asia. The difficult part was you start a sales agency more towards the end of your career because what you're putting forward to your client, which are the brands, is all your experience, your connections, your knowledge. But for me, it was really just after one work experience, after just 4 years.
How old were you?
I was 25, 26. Yeah.
So how did you present yourself to the clients? Because when you start a business, it's new, you're like, when I started my marketing agency, it was like, whoa, it's a bit scary, and you need to put on this face like I'm a confident founder and I know what I'm doing, but in reality, you don't always know what you're doing, even as an experienced founder, I would say. So that's one thing, but also you were young.
Yeah.
So how did you handle that?
Well, I was in some sort of dynamism with that first experience at Native Union, that the company had been successful. So your profile is more attractive because you're the guy who helped Native Union. So I was surfing that wave. I also secured a few brands that would work with me before starting the business as a point of security. I like to anticipate things a lot. So I didn't start from scratch and with zero client. I already had clients under my belt. And those were friends that I had met during, trade shows and events that we were taking part of with Native Union.
So the relationship aspect was definitely what was your stepping stone.
Yeah, I like to call myself a people person. I'm easy to connect with. And I think, what we do at the end of the day, we're in a relationship business. All we do is connecting people with people and helping people, thrive, whether it's on the brand side, but also on the distributor side, because our mission is to help us distributor grow their business as well. It's just being, again, the right person at the right moment, I guess.
So can you tell us a bit how the first few years, the first couple of years running your business, how was it? How did you grow?
Well, I was a one-man band, right? I was just by myself running the show. I knew that I only had a certain capacity of work. I didn't want to accumulate too much in terms of clients. I had a very limited selection of clients that I was working with that were helping me make a living. So I was pretty happy until one of my clients on year 2 of running the business had another big success, even more than the Pop Fun, and that I was part of. Had a big year. I guess we're going to discuss that in a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
But that's why
Can you tell the name of the company?
Yeah, the brand name is Sphero. So in 2015, they launched BB8. So Sphero, as a company, US-based, was part of the incubating program at Disney headquarters. And so the 2 co-founders plus the CEO were receiving mentorship from Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney at that time, and the top management team. And during a meeting, so Sphero was making robotic balls that you were controlling with your smartphone. And during a meeting, under a lot of NDAs and secrecy that Disney and Disney is very good at as well, they unveiled BB8 to the team. And basically, it was almost BB8 was made out of Sphero, because it was just a robotic ball with a head on top. So
it's from Star Wars.
From Star Wars. So
if people just don't know Star Wars.
Yes, and for me, as a big Star Wars fan, I was like, "Wow, that's."
There's a new movie soon.
Yeah, the Mandalorian.
Yeah, just
at the end of the
out.
month. Out of the series, it's a movie that I'm looking forward to watch. But so they say, okay, we can make this product. Overnight, they made a 3D model. Within 1 week, they create a working model. So they sent the units to LA because the company was based in Colorado, still based in Colorado. And then that's when the partnership was born. They were like, okay, you're going to make this toy, which is controlled by your tablet or your smartphone, and let's make a success together. And that's exactly what happened. So I was hired in March 2015. The movie was coming out in December as a consultant, and they had almost little to no business in Asia. it's the year that I've seen my wife the least, because I was always on the plane, always traveling, always closing deals. But it's the easiest sell of my life as well as a salesperson, because in every meeting that I would step in, you just have to demonstrate the product and everyone would be like, wow, what just happened, right?
You didn't have to convince.
Didn't have to convince. At the end, it was more like not how much, it was like how many can I get? So it was interesting to be part of that, great dynamic again. And then the company went from doing 20 million the year before in revenue in US dollar to over 100 million in just 1 year with one product.
On one product?
On one product, yes. So,
wow. But how much was it sold? Like per unit, like to end consumers?
To end customers, the price point was $150 US dollar.
Okay.
So not a cheap toy.
Yeah.
But the
more
Star
like
Wars
for teenagers, adults?
Yeah. That's when the term of kidults started to emerge, because it's like young adults with the nostalgia of growing up and having similar toys, and now wanted to pass it on to their own kids as well. So no, it was phenomenal. We were part of obviously that Disney environment, and we were invited to movie premieres, all the event, the Force Friday as they call it, with all the Star Wars fans and everything. So that was pretty phenomenal. Yeah.
So you didn't close your company when you joined for that role. You put it like as a dormant company. The fact that it was such a success, and Disney and Star Wars, was it also something that played a part in you stepping away from your business for a while? Yeah,
indeed. So one of the biggest events for us in the year is the CES. It's the Consumer Electronics Show. It happens very early in January, right after the holidays. So 2016, after this big Christmas that we all had together, they decided to offer me a full-time role. So they were aware they were taking me out of my own business. So it was almost like name your price. So I was fortunate to be in that position. I could negotiate what I wanted to step out of my own company. But I had the instinct of not closing the business, because for me it was like, again, being always in the anticipation. If things go sideways with this company, which it can be, I still have like an exit door that I know that I can control, that has worked before. So that's why I decided to pause the business and restart it later.
And why didn't you have decided at the time, maybe I just don't accept that offer and just continue to grow my business?
That was a tough decision indeed, because I had other clients as well, which I had to let down, and you don't want that to happen. It's always hard to say to people that, sorry, but we have to stop.
And it's so difficult to sign clients when you just start your business.
Indeed. Again, we're in the people business. So for me, it was letting the person within those businesses down. That was the hard part. But I was also very curious to see what Sphero will also bring, right? Because they made it clear to me that it was either me or they would hire a full-time person. So I would have lost a big opportunity also, for the business. I was in that situation where it was a bit tricky.
Must have been a tough decision.
Yeah, I thought about it a lot. Again, the package was very attractive, and they say you can run the show in Asia. Like if it's your own business, we're gonna set up an office. You'll be on your own in that office, because that office was more for R&D, sourcing, the production side of things as well. I think the curiosity of what this business can bring after having such a big success was really what made the choice to go more on one side versus the other.
So in hindsight, it was a good decision?
It was a very good decision.
And yes. What did you learn from that experience?
Made a lot more new connections, which are valuable to the business today. Yeah. So that's very important. The company also pivoted halfway through. We were making...
You mean your company or the other
Sphero company? Okay. So halfway through, they pivoted from selling toys under the different Disney licenses to selling robots for the classroom. Two very opposite worlds. From selling to the Toys R Us of the world, suddenly you're selling to a headmaster of a school in Hong Kong who's buying a set of robots for their science teacher to teach the foundation of coding and programming to their kids. So yeah, it taught me that to be nimble is important and to make the right decision at the right time when you know that one side of the business is not performing as it should, but sometimes it's good also to pivot and focus somewhere else. And now today this company is just focusing on education. So I guess for them, they made the right choice.
Interesting. Brings me back in time because I remember having friends when I was little who bought this BB-8.
Oh, yeah.
So memories of this. But I guess you learned that, but also I guess you're curious by nature, which is something that goes with being a founder.
You have to think outside of the box. You have to look at what's out there. If you stay in your square, you're being limited, right? Yeah. So I've always had that curiosity for novelty in the tech world and new products. Like I start my day every day by looking at what's new, what's out there, looking at the news. So yeah, curiosity is important in that.
So after that, you came back to your business, to your company.
Yeah.
In 2020?
Yeah, so
around COVID time?
Right before the whole world stopped against CES. And I shouldn't say that, but like I came back from that show in Vegas being really sick. So I was probably patient number 1 or at least top 10 in Hong Kong with COVID for sure. I mean, there was no test and everything at that time, but I've never
Patient zero.
Patient zero could have been me. No, but there was a lot of Chinese people traveling to the show.
Yeah.
So, we're in close contact. I remember my wife gave me a mask before going to the show because she said, in case there's this news in China, you should wear a mask. I'm like, I'm going to a trade show. There's like thousands of people that I'm going to meet. I'm not going to wear a mask. I'm going to look ridiculous. And then turns out the whole world had to wear a mask a couple months after. But I felt like my time at Sphere was coming to an end. I took everything that I could take out of that business. I received a lot of good new ideas and mentorship from the right people. And I was, again, driven by the entrepreneurship side of me. I was like, wanted to work with new sets of products, new businesses, new people. So I was like, okay, let's dive back in.
But you just felt that it was the end of this cycle, of that cycle, or how? Because I feel like also for me, it's really something like I feel it. And it's difficult to explain to other people like why I stopped this and moved to this,
It's a good feel. It's the passion for the job as well that drives you, I think. I just felt like the time was right. Like the time was right to set up the business back in 2014. So
what happened then when you relaunched it? What did you do?
So when you relaunch a business, you're back in entrepreneur mode. The months before you were on the payroll, now suddenly there's zero income, right? You're like, okay. So you
calling your former clients like, hi, I'm back.
Hey, you remember me? No, but I was, again, I kept a lot of good connections in the industry. Picking up clients was not the hardest part. The hardest part was the fact that we were facing COVID.
Yeah.
But luckily, there was this new trend of work from home that emerged. So people still needed like tools and accessories to help with their work at home. Like
probably even more.
Yeah, probably even more. And there were budgets from companies for employees to buy things to help, like a stand for your laptop or a mouse, a keyboard. Whatever is in your desktop environment is what we try to attack with the right products and the right brand. So one brand and second one, and then now we have 13 brands in our portfolio 6 years after. So luckily we had this trend. Otherwise it would have been much harder to restart, I would say.
So actually it was again the right time.
It was the right time.
Probably.
Indeed.
What difference do you notice between the founder you were in 2014, 2016 to the founder that you were in 2020?
I think at that time I was more doing things with instinct. In 2014, I was in a try and miss mode quite a lot. Everything was new, right?
Fail and learn,
fail and learn, exactly. But 2020, I was more I knew where I was going.
Okay.
I had a clear path in front of me. I built a structure around the business. I knew that I couldn't operate on my own. I had to put processes in place. If I want to scale the business, if I want to grow it, I need to surround myself with a team, because at that time I was, again, a one-man band. You can't grow just by yourself. Yeah, I had this vision, and that's what I decided to follow. And that's...
So your vision, what was your vision? To grow, hire people?
Yeah, definitely hiring people was the number one priority, because acquiring new clients was not the hardest part, honestly. And it's not about bragging or anything, but it was actually quite okay. But it's about delivering on your promise, right? The moment you have the clients, you've told them all the things that you can do. Now it's time to deliver. But you can't spread yourself too thin as well. If you do all the work, then
it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable, and there's only 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week. So now I decided to hire 2 people quickly, 2 people who are still with me today. I'm glad that I had hired them both, because they are anchors to the business and have helped the business to grow quite a lot. Yeah.
Okay. When we had a call a few weeks ago, you mentioned that you don't just connect people, but you really, I would say, even become part of their teams. So is that what you're doing differently than other companies?
Yeah, I think it comes with experience, because you've experienced so many times launching a brand in Asia. You know what works, what doesn't, once again. And for us, the work doesn't stop at closing the first deal, signing a distributor and receiving an order. It only starts from there, in fact. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done beyond that. And it's not just about sending emails and say, hey, I'm this brand. It's also the relationship that do a lot of things in our world. Like, we sign deals because we know who we're going to work with. They know who they're going to work with. They know that they're going to get the support beyond just placing orders, and they won't be treated as customers, but as business partners. And then I like to say that, putting products in stores or online on marketplaces, it's not the hardest part. The hardest part is to convince us as customers to buy those products.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of work that comes to building the brand locally, creating local content, driving the demand, enhancing the brand presence in physical retail stores to attract the customers. So that's why I say that we become more than just sales. We are like
marketing.
I like to say brand architects, because we're building the structure around how successful the brand can be in those markets.
So let's say I'm a brand, lifestyle brand, and I come to you. What do you do? I mean, you just said what you would do, but what's the timeline, or what are the big steps? If I come to you and say, I want to sell my products in Korea, can you help me?
Yeah, sure. I think what's important is to have the right foundations between the sales agency and the brand, and sharing the same goals or agreeing on the same goals. Because if there's points of difference from there, it becomes very difficult. So it's about laying that foundations together, and then creating a strategy to enter some of those markets. Can be Korea, or can be the whole region. But yeah, our job is to really come up with, we tailored the strategy based on the brands, because each brand will have different needs and different people to work with and different ways of selling their product. So we use our network to build that foundation. And then the brands, if they want to work with us, then we clear the path. We start reaching out to people, and then so on and so forth. We go and we build everything for them.
And do you take like a percentage of the sales, or how do you... This is your business model?
Yeah, the model is we take a commission on the sales that we bring. And in some cases, we charge a small retainer fee for all the work that happens in the background, which is more than just doing sales.
Like the brand architecture part.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah.
That takes a lot of time.
Yeah. I imagine. So taking a step back now, you've been in Asia for let's say, nearly 20 years. You built a business, you paused, you restarted, you traveled a lot, very busy years. And looking back, what do you think is the element to build something meaningful that lasts over time? Especially in Asia, because things move very fast, as you said. Even, shops outside, restaurants, you can see open, close, open, close. So how do you build that thing that lasts?
I think you need to be resilient. As you just described, things move very fast in Asia. If you don't adapt, you can be overcome very fast, even on the way you work internally, but externally as well. Internally, like with AI nowadays, there's a lot of new tools that you have to use. If you don't bring those new tools to your business, you're going to be out in no time, right? And on the outside, as you say, you have to understand the market, understand how it works, where you can sell, where you shouldn't put the priorities. So adapting, I use that word a lot, but like adapting to the situations is as important in my point of view. Yeah. Okay. So resilient and being able to adapt fast. Yeah.
This is one last question for you. Well, it kind of echoes this question, but maybe it's more personal about your journey as a founder. So throughout your experience, what lessons have you learned that you would like to share with fellow business owners listening to us or future ones?
One of the biggest challenges that I experience is having the right balance between work and life. When you're an entrepreneur, there's a million excuses to be drawn into your business. If you do that little amount of work, it can trigger a lot behind it. So there's always a need for your presence, your attention, your time, right? So especially when you build a family, it's a challenge in itself because once you have kids, the kids require a lot of your time and they are in the right to have your time as well, especially when you work from home like I do. Okay. For me, the gap between work and life is just one door. It's moving from my home office to going to the living room, and it's hard to switch off sometimes because you're still drawn into the work side of things. Finding the right balance on a daily basis.
How do you find that balance? Because you have a little girl and a wife.
I think it's finding the time to be present and being able to disconnect when it's absolutely required. I was thinking a lot that, I need to do this now. The now is, when you're an entrepreneur, is like, it's almost like you, that's what drives you. I need to do this now, not tomorrow, not
later, now.
Yeah. But now I step back in some situations. I'm like, I can pause now. It's okay for me to pause and restart this later, so long that I give myself the time to do it later. But that disconnection is super, super important, especially when you have kids of young age. You don't want to think of when they become older that dad was not present or mom was not present because, they were entrepreneur and maybe they've been successful with their career, but they didn't give me the time that I needed at when I was young. So for me, it's really finding that balance. Okay. And also at a personal level, you put a lot of hours into the work, but your health is super important too, also for your family. I've relearned to pause the business, to take some time for myself and go to the gym or going for a walk and freeing up the mind so that you can come back to the business and be good at it.
I relate to that. It's difficult to pause and to not everything is so urgent, to prioritize.
Prioritize is important.
But no one will tell you, when you're in corporate, your boss can help you prioritize, but when it's your own business, you have to be the headmaster of everything.
Exactly.
So,
especially when you're a solo entrepreneur, if you have a business partner, at least you can share some of the work. But when it's only you, everything falls under you, right? So it's almost like leaving your body somewhere, stepping out of your own body kind of matrix style, and then observing things from afar, and then reflecting on those situations. Yeah. But I see the true benefit of doing that. It helps a lot at the end.
It also helps your business, probably.
Yeah, indeed.
Make better decisions.
Have a clearer vision.
Yeah. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for sharing your story. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was a good talk.
Yeah, I hope people will be inspired. And yeah, if anyone wants to reach out to you, Aurelien, I will add links to the description.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.